What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. My name is Will. Over there's my co-host Eric, and today we're going to be going through our rookie report going into NFL Week 5, right? Week 5? Season's already kind of flying
right
by.
along.
Yeah. But how you doing today, Eric? Got anything for the people before we get started?
I'm doing good, coming to you live from my crappy hotel room in Tacoma, Washington. If anybody ever gets the chance to come out to the Pacific Northwest, do so. It's awesome. But more importantly, if you guys have been watching the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please, please, please do that. That's very much appreciated. Helps us out a ton. It's free and easy for you guys to do. We see those watch hours. We know you're watching it. We just don't have the subscriber count right now. So please help us out. We're trying to grow. That would be fantastic. And while you're at it, if you could leave a like as well, that helps us out a ton too. And leave a comment too if you're trying to engage with us, if you want to ask any questions, if you have some of your favorite rookie risers or fallers, let us know down in the comments below and we will talk to you about it.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we're going to actually get up to a little bit of a discussion. We're going to start it off pretty hot with one of the bigger names out of the rookies, Mr. JSN, someone who has not really been performing too well as of late. And we're going to have a talk about just JSN's value and, his value in respect to all the other rookie receivers that are currently out there right now. How do you feel about JSN so far, 4 weeks into the NFL season?
I mean, I don't think you can be anything other than disappointed. I think that there's situational factors that can be used as excuses, that can be used to explain away the disappointing performance that we've seen so far. So let's kind of lay out like the context of where he's at and why he's where he's at. They drafted him in the first round, 20th overall. To me, that kind of signaled, one, just based on the investment in his talent, but also based on what we heard throughout the offseason, that they were probably going to run more 11 personnel, more 3 wide receiver sets, and allow him to be on the field basically from the jump. That hasn't happened. They're playing almost exclusively out of 12 personnel, and they're really successful in it right now. Like from just an NFL perspective, excluding fantasy, it's allowing them to have 2 tight ends on the field, so they're blocking better, and they're running incredibly effectively with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and that's enough to win them games. So I understand them not wanting to get away from it. DK and Tyler Lockett look incredible. It seems like Lockett hasn't lost a step yet, so there's no reason for JSN to be playing ahead of those guys right now. And then from JSN's side specifically, like he's probably still healing from that wrist injury, the broken bone in his wrist at this point. And so, it makes sense why he's not playing. But again, we hoped that he was this kind of generational talent. We hoped that he was this amazing separator. You couldn't possibly keep him off the field. That's just not the case right now. So definitely disappointed, definitely a little worried, but I still believe in the talent. And at least from a dynasty perspective, he hasn't lost that much value to me.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he is still a rookie wide receiver. There is still some growing pains to be expected, especially like you said, he's in one of the most talented receiver rooms in the NFL. So it's tough when they are successful when he's not on the field for them to then bring him out on the field because, like you said, they're going to run what's successful. So in terms of dynasty and in terms of value, JSN was a first-round pick for a lot of people. I'd say every single, he's going in the first round in every single draft. In terms of wide receivers that are other rookie wide receivers, like say a Puka, if someone were to send that trade offer through, 1-for-1 swap, Puka Nacua or JSN, which side would you lean towards? Or at least what's the rationale would you go into it with?
Man, putting me on the spot right away.
We're getting down to it.
So we talked about this just a little bit before we hopped on air. If you had asked me this 2 weeks ago, absolutely not. If you had asked me this a week ago, still probably not. You asked me this now. It's a genuine debate. You can't hold on to your priors anymore, Like Puka was a 4th, 5th round pick in rookie drafts, but that doesn't matter. We've seen what he's done on the field. He's historic. He's record-setting. He's been amazing. From a film perspective, I think he's been great. I don't want to take anything away from Puka, but I think the offensive system that he's in is perfect for him. Sean McVay is putting him in the perfect position to succeed, and he's doing really just a handful of things really well that are allowing him to be fed this amount of targets. But like from a route running perspective, he's still not the cleanest. He's not the sharpest. He's not separating at a fantastic level. But he's a great zone beater. They're running these deep in cuts and deep curls just over and over and over again, and they continue to beat defenses. So I still don't think that he's like more talented than JSN. I don't think he's a better football player than JSN. He's just in the perfect situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it really difficult for me to tell you what my answer is. Can I cop out and go to you first? Do you have an answer?
Me personally, I feel like the value between the two of them long term, I don't know. It's like you said, it very well could swing in the direction of JSN at any point, because just in terms of talent as a receiver himself, I feel like JSN is above, Puka, and obviously that showed in terms of draft capital, stuff like that. And with Puka, like you said, he's in the perfect system with the perfect coach. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon, but at the same time, like, it's tough. Me personally, I would probably lean towards Puka. I think.
Yeah.
It's tough because, like you said, they're in similar situations, but Puka also on a team with a wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, who's not aging out, but he is getting older. He is 30 years old, coming off of injury, not at full strength even right now. JSN in the situation where Tyler Lockett also starting to get up there, but hasn't really started to decline yet either. But he still has DK Metcalf to contend with, but they play in two different spots of the field, so they should be able to coexist well. It's tough, but I could see a route where Puka does become like an alpha receiver at some point in that offense with, Cooper Kupp if he ends up retiring at some point, or, just calling it a day. So I might actually lean Puka a little bit.
Man, that is crazy to say, huh? Like, I don't think you're wrong for saying that, but that's just wild to think about this early on in the season. I got a tweet here. I won't read through it because it's just a ton of stats, but it's a tweet from Cody Carpentier comparing Jackson Smith-Njigba's first 4 career games to Amon-Ra St. Brown's first 4 career games, because stylistically they were comped together quite a bit. JSN was supposed to be kind of like a souped-up Amon-Ra. They compare incredibly similarly in terms of targets, receptions, yards, lack of touchdowns, routes run, yards per route run, and snap share. Really, really similar situations right now where there was the lack of usage early. And then he goes on to tweet about what Amon-Ra did in games 5 through 10 and 11 through 17, where he ended up being a league winner for you late in the season. I think that route is still available for JSN. The main difference here is that Amon-Ra St. Brown in his rookie year was competing against Tyrell Williams, Quintez Cephas, Khalif Raymond, and TJ Hawkinson, not DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, that's the one little difference right there.
So that's some pretty significant context to talk about. Also, if we're talking about JSN specifically and like what he's been doing that's been bad for him, I think from like a film perspective, he's still separating at a fantastic rate, even based on data. Like, they have data based on like when he's targeted, how far away is he from the nearest defender, and his separation is fantastic, but his snap count is incredibly low and his ADOT is super duper low.
I was about to say, they're looking for him on everything underneath. Like, they aren't looking at him at any point when he's downfield. Like, his air yard share is crazy low. It's crazy low.
But I mean, when you have DK and Tyler Lockett, like, you're kind of gonna have to use him as like a gadgety player because all the other roles are filled. I guess if I finally have to make a decision, I'm still gonna stick with JSN. I believe in him way too much. It probably also just depends on where you're at, where your dynasty team is at. If you're competing, it's probably Puka.
He's hot right now.
Legit.
He's hot right now
He's a wide
too.
receiver 1.
Yeah. He's not not even a wide receiver 1. I feel like he is the wide receiver 1 right now in terms of excitement. Yeah.
Yeah, he's balling. So yeah, I mean, in a redraft league, like, he's, anywhere from like wide receiver 5 to 12. So that's huge for your production this season. If you're competing now, I guess I probably would go Puka. But a lot of the teams that I currently have JSN on, I'm okay with him being bad because I'm rebuilding or, kind of tanking this season in the sweepstakes for Caleb. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with holding on to JSN in that situation because I definitely believe that he will develop into what he thought he was going to be. But yeah, really interesting discussion. I honestly wasn't sure what my answer was going to be until the end there.
Yeah, that was good talk. That was really good talk. We're gonna go ahead and move forward a little bit. We're gonna get through some of the lighter stuff before we get into our next big discussion. Just gonna go through some performances. Jahmyr Gibbs continues to kind of crank out these pedestrian performances off of limited opportunity. He's still seeing a pretty decent target share, and he got 5 targets last week, but the team just doesn't really seem to, use him, especially with David Montgomery just kind of rolling the way he is, which is
Yeah.
they're just gonna put the ball in his gut. He's just gonna run, and they're gonna see what happens. And he's gonna get 3.8 per carry, and it's gonna be great. It's
Fine.
exactly what
Yeah.
they want. Taking a look at Sammy Football, Mr. Laporta. He's a tight end 6 at least going forward in terms of volume and production. Just love to see him out there getting it done. So bravo to the channel for getting that one.
Hell yeah.
Other rookies to talk about from that game, we got Jaden Reed popping off a little bit, 3 for 55 off 5 targets. So I feel like he does have a pretty good role in this offense in terms of his volume. And Luke Musgrave got injured this game. Was in the concussion protocol. So keep an eye on that to see if he plays this week. But if not, Tucker Kraft should be next in line, but I don't think he's a one-for-one swap. Luke Musgrave was the receiving tight end out of the two. Tucker Kraft more of a blocking tight end. So definitely not a one-for-one swap there.
Agreed.
And that's going to land us back at our next kind of big discussion right here. We're going to talk Mr. Devon Achane and his sort of value going into this week. Mr. Achane. Almost said Achane, but that is not how it's pronounced anymore. It is Achane. 8 for 101 and 2 touchdowns. Also 3 receptions for 19 yards off of 5 targets. He's been absolutely electric in this past couple of weeks. How do you feel about the value of Devon Achane? Because I believe he was somebody drafted in rookie drafts, towards the end of the first round, back into the first round. In terms of how all of these rookies have performed, his value, I feel like, has really risen up the ranks of that. So
Yeah.
how do we feel like his value is now in terms of, I guess, against other rookie running backs and also just in terms of dynasty value itself, how it's gone up?
So I think the real question, the gritty question, since we're doing these comps, we had JSN and Puka. I think the question that we got to get to is Achane or Gibbs. It's gotta be brought up, right?
Yeah, I like
Gibbs
that.
was easily a top 5 rookie pick a lot earlier than that in a lot of leagues as well. It depends on Superflex as well, but yeah, like when Achane was drafted, he was a back end of the first, and I think for a lot of people, like immediately after your rookie draft, he wasn't even worth a first anymore because there was such a clear tier drop off after that kind of Jordan Addison, QJ, Zay Flowers that like even the guys at the back end of the first weren't really worth a first. You just had to take somebody. But then, healthy scratch, and you're like, okay, like is he even worth a second? It's looking rough. Then he comes out, has the crazy game in what was like an outlier NFL game, 70 points scored against a horrendous defense. You're like, well, that's amazing. You love to see it, but it's an outlier game. So does that mean it's an outlier performance from him as well? Tough to say. And then he backs it up against the Bills defense, still incredibly efficient. Legit looks like Jamal Charles, CJ2K out there. Like he was gliding through defenses, speeding past people. I think we're in the realm where he might be worth more than Gibbs at this point.
I think as it stands right this second, right now, this is subject to change throughout the season. It's a long season ahead, and anything could happen. But as of right now, Devon Achane is worth more than Jahmyr Gibbs because we've even seen the games where Jahmyr Gibbs is the undisputed guy, and he didn't do anything with it. At least the team wasn't able to deploy him in a way that he was able to do something with it. I'll say that.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. But the difference for me when talking about situation versus talent is it depends a lot on the position. Wide receivers, we were talking about with Puka and JSN, their shelf life, their NFL lifespan is going to last a lot longer, and so they're going to have more opportunity to live up to their talent and not have it be situation based. But running back, one, is just more situation based as a position than wide receiver is, and their shelf life is longer or shorter. Sorry. So if Jahmyr Gibbs is stuck in this situation where he's going to have the DeAndre Swift in Detroit role for 3, 4, 5 years, I'd rather have A-Chain. Even if he's slightly less talented, even if he's not as good of a pass catcher, even if they're similar runners, like if he's going to get used in a Miami offense with one of the best head coaches in the NFL, the best offensive minds in the NFL that's going to deploy him perfectly, give me that.
Yeah, literally the guy who was itching to draft him. He at one point wanted to draft him before they got their second round pick. Wanted to get him in the second round. And they were like, hold on, because we can get him in the third. And he was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And this is why, because they were able to scheme up for him perfectly. He fits this offense perfectly. And I was nervous, like you said, this whole offseason, because you had the Dalvin Cook news. You had all sorts of stuff against Devon Achane this offseason to drive his value down. And after these last 2 weeks, it's just skyrocketed right back up.
Yeah. So that's Dynasty. We're both in agreement that at least right now, he's over Gibbs?
I would agree with that. At least right now as it stands, he's over Jahmyr Gibbs.
So, okay, two things, and one thing before we move on from Dynasty. Gibbs immediately post NFL draft, he gets taken 12th overall, fantastic draft capital, goes to the Lions where their offensive line is amazing, great offensive coordinator. We thought the situation was perfect. He was like the RB3 in Dynasty, basically right away.
I see where the logic is heading, and I'm cool with it. I'm cool with Devon Achane being up there.
RB3!
Bro,
Woo!
just because of the offense, like you said, it's just the perfect situation for him. So unless we see some horror shows in the next couple weeks, I have no reason to doubt in Devon Achane in this offense.
Man, that's great. So I don't know if I could put him all the way up there. It makes sense. Your logic makes sense. I don't think you're wrong for saying that, but like,
because think about who the 1, 2, and 3 are right now, right?
Bijan,
right? It was Breece Hall, right? It was before the season started.
Honestly, at this point, Christian McCaffrey might be my dynasty RB2.
That boy, yeah. Honestly, until he shows any signs of slowing down, yeah, absolutely.
When's he gonna slow down?
He's not.
So I'm gonna put CMC up in that conversation at least, and then like the Breece and JTs.
We'll see how Jonathan Taylor comes back, because he is coming back this week.
Eligible.
Yeah,
he's gonna be back to practice.
But
when's Breece's situation gonna get better? I don't know. I mean, Zach Wilson put on a decent performance last night, but I'm not gonna expect that from him going forward.
Nah, I don't think that's the norm.
Did I say last night?
Yeah, it's okay, man. Last week.
Last week. Sorry. So yeah, he's definitely in that conversation. I don't know that I could necessarily put him above Breece and JT right now, but also like it's better to be early than late, and he showed it to us twice. So I could see it.
Hey, I mean, we'll see next week, because you know what they say, once is an accident, twice a coincidence, 3 is a pattern. So we'll see next week, because if next week he falls off a cliff, it's definitely time to pump the brakes. But as of these last 2 weeks, just off the efficiency, like you said, how he's looked, and just how they have actually used him in this offense, I got no reason to doubt him right now.
Can we talk real quick about what his redraft value is right now? Where he belongs amongst the redraft running backs?
Okay.
I'm looking at the score. They just put out their week 5 trade value chart for half PPR redraft running backs. Currently, he is sitting at 12th. They got Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, and Devin Achane. Where do you think he belongs? Is that about right? Higher? Lower?
I think he should be a little bit higher. Honestly, like I would put him ahead of, like, I think you said Derrick Henry was ahead of him. With the way Derrick Henry's been playing this season, and they've been kind of boom or bust, that offense has been kind of iffy, especially with getting him out there. I don't know. It's tough to say he's above the Yeti, but I would definitely consider that.
I would consider
I
it
would
as well. I think they're close.
I would consider him maybe above David Montgomery just because, I don't know, he's stubbornly involved in that offense, but he's also liable to have a week where, because we saw Jamal Williams have some pretty bad weeks last year as well, where he's not
I
just
just think his
consistently performing week to week.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's like a plotter plus.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're gonna hand him the ball every time they get inside the 10-yard line,
That's
like,
very
he's
valuable.
like he's scored what, 7 touchdowns on the season, I think,
I think so.
through
Jesus.
4 weeks, something ridiculous
Jesus,
like
yeah.
that. And like I mean, he's gonna keep scoring touchdowns. So Travis Etienne is listed at 7th on this list. I don't know. I think I'd put a chain up there.
I think I would as well. To be honest with you, I put him above ETN.
Who do we definitely 100% without a doubt put above him? Like CMC, for sure.
For sure. Bijan,
Bijan,
for sure.
Pollard.
For sure.
I think Eckler. He's not healthy right now, but once he comes back, that role is going to be nasty.
And also, I respect the DeAndre Swift above him right now, especially with the way he's playing, with the way that the Eagles are. You know, that team, they finally put him up there at the RB1 spot. I could see it if he stays healthy for sure.
So, I think I probably would conservatively rank him above Achane right now. But like, if we're talking without a doubt, DeAndre Swift isn't catching passes, and he doesn't have the goal line role. It's Jalen Hurts. Like, he got a touchdown this past week, but like, I don't think he's going to score a ton of touchdowns unless they're home runs.
Nah, that is facts. I could see that. I could 100% see that.
So I think even that's like a little questionable. Like I said, I'd probably still put him above, but if we're talking without a doubt, he's not on that list for me. Kenneth Walker, I would say probably belongs.
Yeah, I would keep Kenneth Walker above.
But then Josh Jacobs had a bounce back week this week, and it could have been a much bigger week. He could have scored 30 plus.
The Raiders are just so bad, though, dude.
They're really bad.
They're so really bad.
And he showed us the first 3 weeks that, you know, what the floor could be.
But chances are he'll be gone after this season, too.
Well, we're talking...
we're talking redraft. Doesn't matter. Yeah, my fault.
You're good.
Yeah, the Raiders are really bad, dude. It's tough to be optimistic in that team, in that situation, because we've seen them struggle off of a lot of volume, like the most in the league.
Yeah. Saquon? Question mark?
Honestly,
off the high ankle sprain?
Off the high ankle sprain, and with the way the Giants are playing, I'm taking Achane.
Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm taking Achane.
Yeah, I don't know that I can disagree with you. So, I mean, we're saying he's borderline top 6, top 8 at worst redraft running back?
I think so right now. Man. Like I said, unless he's liable to fall off a cliff, but from what we've seen, the way this offense is humming, because the Dolphins are humming. They are fucking moving. I think that what he's doing here, I think this is indicative of what he's going to keep doing.
All right. So real quick, last thing on HN. You got to help me out. I have him on a dynasty roster where I am all in for Caleb Williams, big tanking, and his points are not helping me out. Obviously, I'd love to keep him because he's amazing. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm going to prioritize Caleb Williams, and I need the points off my roster. On a team like that, where you're tanking and you don't want players in return, you probably just want picks. What do you need for HN?
I mean, it's definitely a first round pick for sure. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely a first, but is it like a late first plus another pick? Is it a mid first by itself? Is that not even enough? Is it an early first at this point? Like, what range do you think you're in right now?
Oof, I think definitely at least a mid first. But like you said, late first with maybe an additional pick, like maybe late first with a third rounder, or even late first with a late second. But honestly, the value is there for Devon Achane. And I think people are bought in on this offense. I think that's the thing that's the selling point for him. Not even Achan as a player, because he is good himself, but the
Right.
situation is just golden for guys like him.
Yeah. Man, crazy to think about. Things change so quickly.
Absolutely.
Um, and it's funny with Dynasty too, because like sometimes you need to be patient. Sometimes it's important to pump the brakes. But also in these type of situations, like you got to be water. You got to react quickly. You got to be willing to change your opinion, or else you're going to be left in the dust. And yeah, uh, I think Achane belongs, man. Like you said, he belongs probably in that top 5 of the dynasty running back list right now.
And like you said, and like the people should take away from that conversation, it's better to be early on this stuff than to be late. So if you're looking to offload some players, like Eric said, start making those calls, start sending those messages out, start gauging how your league feels about him, because people should be excited about this guy right now. Value should be
Yeah.
at an all-time high, and at this point, it may only get higher. Who knows? But as of right now, I think like you said, you're already trying to sell him as a top 8, top 5 running back. You know, how much higher is it really, really, really gonna get?
Yeah, it's hard for it to grow much more than this. So if
Right.
you're looking to sell, now is probably the time because like yeah, with that argument in mind, if the ceiling can't get that much higher and it's possible that the floor could drop out at any
Hmm.
week, not saying that it will, but it could, now is probably the time to sell.
Absolutely. But that's a great discussion right there. Hopefully, you guys took something away from that. But we're gonna move through the rest of these rookie performances just to get a beat on them. Just some quick thoughts. We got Dalton Kincaid for the Bills, still pretty involved. 5 targets, only turned that into 4 catches for 27 yards. So you want to see some more, at least valuable usage out of him. But he is still out there and is still participating. So that is good to see at least.
The encouraging thing for me is that he put Dawson Knox a little bit further behind him this week. They had been
Hmm.
splitting fairly evenly and on the field together a lot. And this week his snap share was fairly significantly higher than Dawson Knox. So that was good to see.
Yeah, it's perfect right there, and very indicative of good things going forward. Marvin Mims needs to play more. That's just at this point, I don't know what else to really say about that situation. He's got the most receiving yards on the team. He's
Yeah.
off super limited opportunities. I don't
Fifth
understand.
in target share
Yeah, fifth
and
and
snap rate, I think.
so it's just I don't understand. At some point, this coaching staff has to catch up to that. If not, they're probably going to clear house again.
Yeah.
Roshan Johnson, sorry if we convinced you guys he was going to be somebody. He's nobody right now, and he's probably going to continue to be nobody as long as Khalil Herbert's playing as well as he is. So,
He's looking so good.
yeah, he's looking amazing. Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Not great.
No.
Not great.
You guys still
And-
think Watson should get benched? Anybody who was out there saying that stuff?
To be fair to DTR, this was a terrible situation to
Yeah.
get thrown into. To not even have like a full week to get ready. Like we thought Deshaun was going to play.
Yeah, they
It was a
announced literally
fairly
the
minor
morning.
shoulder injury.
The morning of that he
Yeah.
wasn't going to play.
So I'm sure that DTR was getting some starter reps throughout the week, but it wasn't like all him. Like I'm sure they were putting Deshaun out there and giving him some reps to get him ready, and then decided last minute that it wasn't going to happen. Baltimore's a fairly difficult defense. Definitely their front seven was getting after him.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put it all on him. Like obviously, if the situation was set up more so for him to be prepared for this start, maybe he would have done better. But yes, DTR is not it yet. He's not ready yet, and don't you dare talk about benching Deshaun for him at this point.
Yeah, DTR still, he needs some time. Needs some time.
Yeah.
Somebody else, don't panic yet. We got Mr. Tank Dell. He struggled last week. Obviously, Nico Collins had an amazing week last week. This Texans offense, man. This Texans offense is actually really fun to
Bro.
watch. I'm not going to lie to you. They're out there having a good
Speaking
time.
of being water and like shedding your priors, nobody thought they were gonna be good.
No.
Nobody. Okay. So I know that we're going through all the names real quickly, but we need to circle back to CJ Stroud as well.
Absolutely.
And have a little bit of a discussion about him.
Absolutely. That dude, honestly, it's funny because the last week that I did this report where I was just kind of writing the stuff up myself, I completely forgot about CJ Stroud. And not because like he hasn't been performing, but because he's been playing so well, I forgot he was a rookie for the week,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. Because there's some
Playing
guys
like a seasoned vet.
yeah, there's vets out there struggling like Daniel Jones out there. Like, there's guys that CJ Stroud needs to be on your team at this point. He doesn't need to be on waivers because he's playing extremely well.
In redraft. Yeah.
In redraft, yeah.
Agreed.
But just out of the three quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson is still up there at the one for me, but CJ Stroud, I think, has solidified himself as the second best rookie quarterback in this draft. Because Bryce Young, he has struggled.
Absolutely.
And CJ Stroud is out there. He's not making it look easy, but he legitimately looks like he gets better and better every week. And that's what you want to see out of a rookie, and it's awesome, honestly.
Yeah. So if we're going to talk about him, I saw a tweet the other day that said, is it time to put CJ Stroud in the same conversation as Trevor Lawrence in terms of dynasty value?
Yes. I think so. I honestly think so. I don't think it's a straight up 1-for-1. I think Trevor Lawrence still has a crazy high ceiling because at the end of the day, he is still, considered to be like a generational talent, stuff like that. CJ Stroud, not as highly touted, but in terms of how they're performing right now at the NFL level, very similar levels of production right now.
Yeah. So there was a response to that tweet that I thought was also very astute and I agreed with, that said, I'm fine with this take if it's because you're moving CJ Stroud so far up, but if this take is because you're moving Trevor Lawrence down, then you're wrong.
Right.
Trevor has been balling this season. It might not seem like it because it's not showing up in the box score, it's not showing up for fantasy, but in terms of how he looks on film, the throws that he's making, like he's the second highest PFF graded quarterback in the NFL through the beginning of the season. It's just his position players are kind of letting him down right now. And the offensive scheme is kind of letting him down right now. So I think he's playing fantastic. We just need to see it from the players around him, which is weird. Typically, if the quarterback elevates people, but right now everybody else is dragging him down, which is kind of interesting. But I don't think it's his fault. So I think he belongs in the same tier that he started the season in. But CJ Stroud is just moving way, way, way up.
I 100% agree. Like, CJ Stroud has been impressive, and Trevor Lawrence is still, like you said, he's been impressive and he's been improving throughout his career as well. It's just things aren't really hitting right now for Trevor Lawrence, but I feel like that's going to fall through at some point.
Yeah.
That's another great discussion right there. As I said earlier, Bryce Young, still not impressive like at all. Hoping to see more at some point. I think there was a report that they're looking to trade for a wide receiver.
Wide receiver one.
Yeah, quality wide receiver one.
Chase Claypool incoming.
Oh my God, bro.
I can see it.
Dude, that guy makes teams worse. I hope not.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
Also, Jordan Addison put up a goose egg, and this is exactly what Eric was talking about when he said that his production was not stable. This is an example of that production not being stable and falling through this week because he's not on the field enough and he's not running with the right sets to be actually getting that real production in this offense. So again, shout out to Eric for being the one to say that on this channel because he realized that and saw through that production because it's very indicative of how things are going to be going forward for Jordan Addison because this team needs to still realize he's better than KJ Osborne for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not an indictment on Addison himself, I don't think. He's incredibly talented. He's done great with the opportunities that he's been given. It's just not enough. The team is really holding on to the fact that KJ Osborne is a good blocker. Like, genuinely, they're putting him in the slot and they're using him as a blocker to supplement the run game. But it's not like their run game has done much either. Like, Cam Akers and Alexander Madison aren't really getting it done. I think they'd be better off just continuing to let Kirk air it out, putting their best receivers, best catchers of the football on the field. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later, but up to this point in the season, it still hasn't happened, and that's what led to the Jordan Addison goose egg last week. But yeah, last week, prior to this game having been played, I think would have been the perfect time to sell him because if you looked at KTC, and KTC isn't always the most indicative of the value that you're going to see like in leagues, the trade value and stuff like that, but he was up above Brandon Ayuk. Like, give me Brandon Ayuk a million times out of a million.
Absolutely.
Over Jordan Addison. He's so good, dude.
Absolutely.
Like, I know this is the rookie
Brandon
show,
Ayuk's
but
a dog.
Can we give a little love to Brandon Ayuk right now?
That boy's a dog. Good. Absolute dog.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree. I think last week would have been a great opportunity to sell him. Now I don't know what you're going to do with him. You're just going to be waiting now.
You hold.
Yeah, you just hold.
Yeah, you just got to hold.
But yeah, moving forward, we got Puka. Again, just might be a generational talent at this point. He's a dog. There's nothing really else to say at this point. He's one of the most fun players to watch in the league right
Based.
now.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, also a dog, absolute beast. What was the tweet
Man,
that you sent me earlier about
I
Anthony
gotta
Richardson, Eric?
let me pull it up. Give me one moment. I sent it to you directly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So from Jake Tribby on Twitter, fantasy points per 4 quarters. So not including the game that including the game that he left early, but basically when he's been on the field, what's the performance look like? Anthony Richardson, his points per 4 quarters, 30.3. 2019 Lamar Jackson, record-setting Lamar Jackson, second greatest fantasy quarterback season of all time, 27.7. He's clearing him by over 3 points right now.
yeah. So when that boy is out there on the field, he's putting up numbers, and you love to see it. Another guy we loved on this channel as well. He's just out there doing what
Yeah.
he does, and one of his teammates benefiting from that, Mr. Josh Downs, also on the way up. Love his usage in this offense. He's pretty heavily targeted, and I feel like that's going to go up. We thought that he would suffer from accuracy issues from Anthony Richardson, which is kind of the case, but also not fully the case. So just
Yeah.
hoping that that connection gets better as the season goes along. Another piece of news: Mr. Josh McDaniels is a piece of shit. Threw Aiden O'Connell under the bus completely after the game. I know he did struggle, but I feel like Aiden O'Connell, he didn't do a bad job. You know what I'm saying? Like that game, they were probably gonna lose that game from the start.
He was thrown into the fire.
Right,
What could you possibly expect Aiden O'Connell to do?
right. So when that being the case, and your head coach is talking about you after the game like that, I don't like that. I hope Josh
That's
McDaniels is kind of out of there
that's
soon.
He should have been out of there. They
Last
never should
year.
have hired him.
Yeah.
He's garbage. He's garbage. Real quickly, while we're on the Raiders, what the fuck is up with Michael Mayer? Is he gonna play this season? Like, what is happening?
He's there, I think.
He's there, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go to sleeper real quick because I want to check what his snap count's been. Like, if he's even on the field. I really don't know. Genuinely. Go to players. Michael Mayer. Ooh, come on. Michael Mayer. Game log. Okay, so he's on the field. Week 1 versus Denver, 49% snap rate. Week 2, 40. Week 3, 47. Week 4, 51. But he has a total of 2 targets through 4 games, 1 reception for 2 yards. What do we do with that? Like, you're not. I mean, I guess the
He's
answer
just
is
not
you're
doing.
holding.
Yeah, you
'cause
hold, but what the
You
fuck?
can't sell him. But damn, like the rookie class tight end 1, that ship has sailed so far away, dude.
I was
Like
about to
around the
say-
world.
I was about to say that ship was starting to sail away before the draft, and now it's just
That's true.
bon voyage. You're already waving.
Yeah.
They're out there. Yeah.
This was one of those situations where, like, in like pre-rookie draft season, like right before, we were both saying he's not the tight end 1. I was in on Kincaid. You were all in on Sam Laporta. And we got to the point where, like, right before the NFL draft, I think we had both of them
Above him.
like just barely. Well, Kincaid, based on where he went, I think he was significantly above.
Yeah,
but
solid,
Laporta and
yeah.
Mayer were definitely a conversation, and I think we were leaning Laporta. But now, I mean, Luke Musgrave easily ahead of him. Is there anybody else in this rookie tight end class that you'd put above him at
Hell,
this point? Like
Darnell
Washington.
Washington. It's like, no, I'm joking. I'm absolutely joking. I would never. Watch him pop off this week just because he's got the opportunity.
What opportunity?
Pat Fryermuth's hurt. That's about it. But, he'll be out there.
He plays
Isn't-
for the Steelers. Oh, you're talking about Darnell Washington. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Mayer. I was like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, that'd be fun.
I guess. Not really.
All right, that's enough of that. I just wanted to bring him up.
And then also QJ for the Chargers did not step up this week. We thought he wouldn't step up this week, and he proved us right in not stepping up this week. It was the Josh
Oh.
Palmer show for the most part, really, in terms of all the receivers, because he got 8 targets this week.
You know who else's show it was?
Who?
Fucking Darius Davis. The 6th round rookie that the Chargers took, I think, was out snapping QJ this week.
Word.
That's
Where's
embarrassing.
he
Where's he at? I can't find the snap counts right now, so don't quote me on that necessarily. But I think production wise, he produced more than QJ this week. So that is not encouraging.
No, not at all. I just don't understand what's going on with QJ unless this is what I was talking about with these TCU wide receivers. We're 3 for 3 recently. And I'm hoping I want QJ to break that mold. I really do.
Of course we do. And like, I don't want to scout the helmet, bro. What does the helmet have to do?
It has nothing to do with it.
For real.
Because if the helmet had anything to do with it, C.J. Stroud wouldn't be doing as well as he is. Because, one of Ohio State's knocks was that they haven't really produced a great NFL quarterback yet. C.J. Stroud on the way. But I don't know, man. TCU wide receivers. Something about them.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that he was, from a route running perspective, pretty raw. We knew that he didn't have a diverse route tree. He didn't run like NFL style routes. I guess the one thing that you can say about playing at TCU is that like Big 12 offenses don't translate immediately to NFL success.
That's true.
Geno Smith can be the poster boy for that. Took him a decade before he was ready for what the NFL was throwing at him. But yeah, like I'm not going to completely jump ship on QJ. Honestly, after this performance, getting outsnapped and outplayed by Darius Davis, if the price is low enough, I'm probably still willing to buy in just because of the investment and what I think that he could be. But it is well within the range of outcomes for him to just be a dud like the other TCU receivers, like you said.
Yeah, and like we said, we're praying and hoping that he does break that mold. But I'm just thinking it would be interesting, man. It's not indicative of anything because, like you said, you can't scout the helmet. But it's just, I don't know, man.
Scary.
3 first-round TCU receivers in a row. I don't know. I don't know. Just 2 more things we got here on the list. We got Mr. Michael Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals, able to pop this week, 2 touchdowns, found the end zone twice. Not indicative of anything going forward. Not going to say like, oh, go grab him, go make sure he's on your team right now. But, I mean, you could have him on your team. Wouldn't hurt to pick him up in waivers, anything like that. I picked him up on my squad just to see because he is being used pretty well in this offense. He has a really good target share. And Josh Dobbs has been kind of impressive, low-key.
So I don't actually have the numbers in front of me. Does he have a really good target share? Because I thought that was part of the issue, is that he was running all of the routes but not getting targeted frequently until this week.
Let me see if I can get that in front of me. Because this week, 7 targets and went 7 for 7. Last week, because you may be right. Against the Cowboys, we got... Yeah, last week against Cowboys, 2 targets. So I guess they're finally starting to give him the opportunity, possibly.
Let's see. Okay, so currently,
3 targets week.
according to Player Profiler, through the first 4 weeks of the season, 13.8% target share, which is 89th amongst receivers, and a 68.1% snap share, 65th. So that was target rate that I said. Target share, basically the same, 13.2, 73rd.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, maybe this week it leads to more targets going forward. We've seen Hollywood continue to get targeted at a high rate. Rondell Moore's been a little bit more involved, but actually, interestingly, kind of out of the backfield. They've been handing the ball off to him, letting him run.
Yeah, I have seen some of that.
Effective.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he's going to eat into target share very much. We'll see if there's enough pass volume to go around for Michael Wilson to continue, not this level of success, but
At least some level of success to be fantasy relevant
yeah,
in some way.
right.
And then final thing we got on the list, Mr. Rashee Rice of the Chiefs led the receivers in targets again in a competitive game.
Good boy.
So maybe indicative of how they're going to use him going forward. So yeah, I love to see
I
that.
hope so.
One of my boys for sure. Because I think he is out of the wide receiver group right now. He's just kind of proven that he is the best wide receiver on the team.
Yeah.
Out of like what Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, who have not done shit this season.
Yeah, MVS continues to be a track star.
Running wind
Out there
sprints,
running
baby.
for fun. So yeah, I'm hoping he carves out a deserved role at this point for himself. Rashee Rice definitely seems like he's the most talented of the bunch.
Yeah, which is encouraging to see going forward. So that's going to go ahead and round out our list for the rookie report. That's just about everybody who was relevant this week. We know there are a lot more rookies, but I'm not talking about everybody who gets one catch for 3 yards in a week, guys. So if there's anyone you felt like we should have had on this list because maybe that one catch was spectacular, let us know in the comments down below. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that way you know when we drop all of our latest videos. And hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and it's the best way to get our stuff out there into the algorithm. But Eric, you got anything for the people before we head out of here?
Yeah, lastly, check those links down in the description below, especially our link to the Discord. Again, if you have something to say to us, leave it in the comments. We respond to all of them, and we would love to engage with you there. But if you want to have a deeper conversation, if you want to talk to us and some of the community that we've already built up over there, which super knowledgeable, super smart, they're all great people over there that can help you out just as much as we can, hit that link in the description for the Discord and join up over there. We'd love to add you community. And then our links to our sponsors. We have Dynasty Owner down there if you're interested with a promo code for 20% off. We have Sleeper and also Underdog, both through League Winners. So if you want to check out the League Winners site, they're also putting out a bunch of great fantasy content. You can check them out in the description below. But then we have some promo codes to get a 100% deposit match over on Underdog and on Sleeper. And then lastly, do numbers. We have some really cool apparel, merch, hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff, and you can get 15% off using our code below. So check all that out. That would be much appreciated. Support us, support our sponsors. But that'll do it. If you stuck with us all the way until the end, as always, we love you, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.